Thank you for watching. My name is Adam Eady. I'm a Microsoft Solutions Engineer with ITS Partners. Today we're going to talk about deploying Symantec Critical System Protection with Configuration Manager 2012. Symantec Critical System Protection gives us monitoring and protection of our physical and virtual data centers using a granular policy-based control system made very easy to use by Symantec. For more information on critical systems protection, visit our website at itsdelivers.com, and one of our Symantec security engineers have put together a couple of great videos on monitoring and protecting our data centers with Symantec CSP and de-escalation of privileges using Symantec CSP. Some excellent videos, lots of information out there. Again, visit our website at itsdelivers.com, select the videos and the security section, and there's a bunch of great content out there. Today we're actually going to focus on deploying the CSP client using Microsoft's System Center Configuration Manager 2012. We're going to go through the process of creating and distributing the package, creating the collection that we're going to use to distribute the content, creating and deploying the task sequence, which is going to be our method of deploying this content, and I'll explain why we're going to use a task sequence a little bit later on. We're going to actually show the client installation take place, and we'll take a quick peek at the CSP console to see the actual results. In our Configuration Manager console here, as we'll go ahead and create the package. I've already moved the two files that are going to be required into my package share here. This is a share that I've got shared out that I create all of my Configuration Manager packages in. We need two files. That's the agent.exe and the agent-cert.ssl file. These are created on the Critical System Protection server. I've already moved those over here to my install source. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this path because we're going to need that very shortly here. In our console, I'll go over here to Packages and I'll right click and, oops, I'm in Collections. We'll go to Software Library. Now I'll do it here and we'll create package, and we'll name this Critical System Protection, and the manufacturer is Symantec, language is English, and the version of this is 529568. 568. I cheated a little bit there. That's okay. So we're going to select this package contains source files, and for some reason they don't let us type in here, but we're going to go ahead and hit browse. And we'll paste that path that I just copied in here where the files are located. And we'll hit next here. And we're going to go ahead and create a standard program. And we'll call this program Install Critical System Protection. And I'm going to go ahead and cheat again for the command line here. This is where we would type the MSI exec command line or the executable name with whatever switches it is. I have this already typed out here. This actually came straight from the CSP install documentation. Nothing special here except for I'm populating the path of the agent cert in the local temp directory of my device that I'll be deploying to. And you have to define your management server in here. So you know what, I just used the IP address of our management server. You can use a host name if you'd like. We're creating a log here also in the temp directory. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this whole line. See, it's agent.exe, and then all the command line switches. Again, all this information here came directly out of the installation documentation. So we'll paste this in the command line box here, and we're going to run this whether or not a user is logged in, and we'll go ahead and hit next here, and we'll give this about, I think it was roughly 50 megabytes. That might be a bit much, but that's okay. It's an estimation. And we'll hit next here, and we'll go ahead and create this package. And you can see everything succeeded. We'll go ahead and close this. And next thing we'll do is we're going to distribute this content out to our distribution points. So we'll right click the package we just created and we'll distribute the content. And we'll hit next here. We'll add our distribution point, or if you have distribution point groups, you can add them there as well. I only have the one distribution point for this demo, so select that and we'll hit next. And we'll close that wizard, and that will start deploying. Once that finishes here where it says targeted 0, we'll see 1 and we'll see a success here, and we'll check on that in just a little bit. So now that we've created that package, we want to actually go ahead and create a collection, something to deploy this to. So under packages here, I will right click and create a device collection, and we'll call this deploy critical system protection. And we'll set the limiting collection to all systems, and we'll say next. And we're not actually going to add any queries or rules for this demonstration. I'll just do a direct add here shortly. So we're on that note, we're going to turn the schedule off here. It's going to complain at me that there's no members of this collection. That's okay. We'll hit next, and we'll hit complete to create this collection. It's taking its sweet time. There we go. Close. So now we have this collection here with nothing in it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a task sequence. And the reason we're going to create a task sequence for this is because we need to, in this line here, we see that the agent cert.ssl file, we need to move this file from our package to this temp directory. This string required that this be a defined path. It won't run from the current running location. I've tried a couple different methods and didn't get them to work. If anybody can play around with it and get it working, post it. But the method I've come up with that's worked the best is to move this over to the temp directory, and then we can call it directly from there. So for that, we're going to use a task sequence. So the first thing we'll do in the task sequence is move that over. So let's go ahead and create that task sequence back under software library here. Under software deployment tasks, we'll create a task sequence, and we're going to create a custom task sequence. So check the bottom one here, and we'll call this deploy Symantec CSP. There we have it, very basic task sequence with nothing in it. So we'll go ahead and we will edit this task sequence, and we'll put a few things in it. So the first thing we want to add is a run command line, and this is where we're actually going to copy that file over. So we'll call this copy agent-cert.ssl, and in the description we'll say copy agent-cert.ssl to temp directory. The actual command line we're going to put in here, I've cheated again and copied and pasted that. We're going to use xcopy and then the agent-cert.ssl file to the local devices temp directory. Now the reason we don't have to define a path here is we're actually going to check this box here that says start in package. Now we could either define a path we want to start this in, or a package, and we're going to start this in our CSP package where this agent-cert.ssl file is located. Oops, that's the wrong package. That's the one we want. And the next thing we're going to do is add the software deployment task sequence. So we'll go add general, install package, and we'll rename this install CSP, and we'll browse to the package we want to install. Critical System Protection. And then here you see the program that we're going to install. And we will hit apply and OK. And that task sequence has been created. So we're copying that agent cert file over to a temp directory, and then we're running the package that we just created. So the last thing we need to do is to deploy this task sequence to the collection we created. So we'll right click that task sequence and select deploy, and we'll choose browse, and we'll choose the deploy critical system protection collection, and we'll hit OK. And it's going to complain again that it doesn't contain any members. That's okay. We'll move something in there in just a moment, and we'll hit next. And you could make this required or available. If you make it available, you're going to have to go into the software center and run it. If you make it required, it can run automatically. I'm going to leave it available for this demonstration just so I can go over there and kick it off and we can see that take place. So we'll choose next there. We'll choose when to make this deployment available. We'll make it available now. If we made this required, we would have to set a mandatory schedule, but since we didn't, we don't have to do that. If we want this to install outside of maintenance windows, we could select that here. We're going to do it just in case there's a maintenance window taking place during this demo. Pretty sure they're not, but just in case, we'll see it go off anyways. Here, if you had Operations Manager in place, you could create alerts for failures and deployment thresholds. Here's where we can determine if we want to download the content locally from the task sequence or if we want to download it all prior to running the task sequence. So if you wanted to pre-cache all the information, you could do that here. A couple other fallback distribution point options. We're going to leave default, select next, and next again, and the deployment is created. So we've now created the package in the program, the collection, and the task sequence, and the task sequence has been deployed to the collection. So now we'll go ahead and go to that collection and we'll add a device to it. So I have a Windows 7 client. Could do this on servers or clients. I'm actually just using a Windows 7 client for this demonstration. And I'm going to right click this device here and add selected item to existing device collection. And we'll select that deploy critical systems protection collection. That was a bad naming idea. I didn't think that one through. So we'll go check that collection out now here, and if we refresh this, we should see that it's populated with a device. There we go. And if we double click it, we can see that that's our Windows 7 device. So to speed things up a little, let's go ahead and right click that device and select this client notification download computer policy, and that should refresh the policy on that device. So if we go take a look at it, oops, and here we should see something come up in here pretty soon. And just because I'm impatient, I'll go ahead and do that again directly from the client. So I'll open the Configuration Manager Properties, go to Machine Policy Retrieval. Oh, see, it already happened. That's how impatient I am. If you hit Run Now, this will kick off that same process that we just did from the server. So here in my Software Center, you can see that I have my Deploy Symantec CSP task sequence. I'm going to go ahead and kick that off. And we'll see over here that it's starting to install. And we'll get our little pop-up notification here. And our task sequence progress here. You could hide this if you wanted to make this completely silent. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm leaving it on so we can actually see it all take place. You see that it's actually doing giving you the little wizard as well as showing the process in the Software Center. This is actually going to reboot this device. If you needed to stop that reboot from taking place, you would want to do that in the MSI. While this is installing, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the CSP server here. We can see if we click on assets that we're only going to have our CSP server over here at the moment, and my configuration manager server. So pretty shortly we can refresh this and we'll have our Windows 7 client. We have this restart sequence now, so it gives us 30 seconds to go ahead and reboot. So I'm going to go ahead and select restart now. Speed the process up a little bit. And once this computer restarts, it'll finalize the installation and the Critical Systems Protection client will be installed. So if we pop over to the server, we should actually start getting some communication here. There we go. So now we see our Windows 7 client in here, and we can now assign policies to this, configurations, and do all the fun stuff that Will teaches us to do in his videos over at itsdelivers.com. So if we come back over here to our Windows client, log back in here, take a peek and see the client installation on the client side. We should see in the software center we have a successful installation, and we should actually see the software. So here we have the policy monitor. This is Symantec CSP, Symantec Critical System Protection. If we launch the software, we have no available software. We'll see deploy Symantec CSP installed. The reason it's not under installed software is because it's a task sequence, but it still shows here that there's a successful installation status. And that concludes our demonstration today on installing Symantec Critical System Protection with Configuration Manager 2012.